Check it. What up, you are back for another video with DataZero. In this video, we're looking at AMC, GME, and SPY. This is your weekly update and prediction where we give you an outlook for what to expect throughout the week based off the charts, the facts, and the data. This video is not financial advice and should not be taken as such. Please do your own research and due diligence before buying any stock or crypto asset. Let's not waste any more time and give you guys the macro prediction and micro outlook for this week. Let's go. All right, guys, what is up? You are back for another video with DataZero. In this video, we're giving you the information that you need to know as a trader and investor. This video is not financial advice and should not be taken as such. Please do your own research and due diligence before buying any stock or crypto asset. With that being said, let's go ahead and hop in the charts, the facts, and the data. This is your weekly update and prediction where we look at the candles in the market on a bigger time frame to keep our perspective in check and give you guys a weekly outlook of what we're expecting throughout the market. So the first thing we want to look at is data sets coming out for this week. We have on Thursday, we have GDP coming out quarter over quarter, and on Friday we have PCE coming out and personal income month over month and personal spending month over month. These are big data sets, especially the GDP growth rate, and that is looking like it's going to be coming out lower because the consensus and the forecast are greatly underneath the previous number of 4.9, and they are very close together. When the consensus and the forecast are close together, that means that that number is most likely going to be very close. The actual data set that we get is going to be close to that number. And since it's so greatly underneath 4.9, that means we're most likely not going to beat it. So this number is going to come out lower, which means GDP went down, which means most likely that's going to have a bearish effect on the market. And you guys have seen how I've done this in the past, where basically with inflation numbers and stuff of that nature, I've said, hey, these numbers are very close together. The consensus is saying this. Most likely it's going to be a red or green day on this day based off of what we're looking at. That's what I'm doing here. So most likely you're going to see red day on Thursday, and you're going to see some volatility on Friday. So I would expect most likely to see some downside on Thursday and Friday based off the data sets that we have coming out. I also want to point out that the market is being driven by semiconductors right now. And if you look at the semiconductor market like NVIDIA and AMD, these stocks are in rising wedges. These stocks are extremely overbought. They are outside of the Bollinger Bands. And this is what being in a bubble looks and feels like, guys. We are having a huge amount of excess liquidity in the market based off what we're seeing. If you go ahead and look at the US M2 supply, so this is all the money being printed. And again, you guys can believe and think whatever you want, but I believe that we are literally in a bubble, and a lot of people can agree the market feels detached from reality as it's making new highs, as we are seeing the economy not looking as good as it should be for the market being where it's at. And a lot of people are saying SPY is completely detached from fundamentals. A lot of people can see that. So if a lot of people have that consensus, again, this is what being in a bubble looks and feels like. And if we look at the data, it says the same thing. You guys can see we printed a ton of money here in the 2020 after the C flu event. We had this huge push to the upside for US M2 money supply. This is all the money in US money in circulation, printing a ton of amount of money, and we're still seeing all of that excess liquidity in the market. We're still seeing the effects from all of this money being printed. That is the inflation that we're seeing. That's all of the markets being pumped up with all this excess liquidity, and it needs to be washed out of the market, and it still has not happened yet. Again, I do not want this to happen, but it looks like we are going to have an economic crisis. I want to believe and truly hope the Fed can pull off the narrative of the soft landing. I want it to happen because I don't want what I think is coming to happen, but it looks like the writing is on the wall, and it's becoming clearer and clearer every single day. We are dancing off to an edge of a cliff, guys, and it is not looking good. If you look at what history is telling us, basically the markets being making these new highs is normally indication of the markets being overbought. And if we look at what's driving the market, the semiconductors, these are extremely overvalued right now. And if you zoom out, they have gap fills to the downside. All of the technicals are saying, hey, this stock is overbought. And they also have massive divergences on the monthly and weekly time frame. Price keeps trending up. Our RSI is making lower lows and lower highs. This is called a bearish divergence, and this is going to play out in a huge way, especially when it is on these larger time frames. Again, you can see that RSI is trending down while prices continue trending up. Massive divergences, prices overvalued, and again, this is what I believe being in a bubble looks and feels like. Now, as far as what we could see for SPY throughout Monday and Tuesday, I do believe you're going to see upside on SPY, okay? I do believe that SPY is actually going to make a pop to about 485, 484 in that range. So I believe that SPY is actually going to make a pop to the upside. What you're most likely going to see on Monday is a slight continuation to the upside and then start pulling back on Tuesday and into Thursday. So I'm thinking Monday and Tuesday could be a little bit of more bullishness, and then Thursday, Friday, start seeing that bearishness coming back down to retest the lows. So do expect a higher high, expect this rally to continue, but expect it to end sometime during this week. I'm going to put out a trade in the Discord so you guys can take advantage of it. Make sure you look at the price targets and look at everything on the trade because it is throughout the week, but make sure you take profits and look at the price targets. Once we hit the price targets, that's when you need to be taking profit. So as you guys can see, I do think this rally is going to continue to the upside, but I believe we're going to see a slight pullback, and that is what the technicals are saying as well. RSI sitting at 69.99% on the 4-hour time frame, so not yet overbought, but it will get overbought, and it's going to need a pullback. Outside of the bands on the daily time frame, outside of the bands on the 4-hour time frame, RSI completely blown out on the 1 hour, on the 2 hour. Bearish divergence starting to form on the 5-minute. As you guys can see, if you look here where RSI topped out, you can see that price is making higher highs and higher lows, while RSI is making lower highs and lower lows. RSI on a downtrend, price in an uptrend, starting to form bearish divergences, and this is why I'm saying we're going to see a pop to the upside and then an overall pullback for SPY. It's either going to happen here in pre-market, or the market's going to open, it's going to run up and then have to pull back, probably happening on Monday and Tuesday, and then Thursday and Friday start seeing that later half going into bearishness. So I do think we're going to see an overall red week for SPY as far as I am concerned. Bullishness in the first half of the week, bearishness in the second half of the week, giving us a red candle close, closing us below the 482.72 level that we closed at and giving us a red candle. So I do think we're going to see bearishness throughout most of the week, and I will give you guys a trade setup for this move, either up or downside. We need to be able to adapt and change. Just make sure you're looking at the price targets because we want to make money on the up and downside no matter what happens. Now, if we go ahead and look at SPY on the bigger time frames, you guys can see that SPY is still in a macro rising wedge. This rising wedge is in play. It's in play until we get a daily or weekly candle close above it, and we have not. This is why I think we're going to see a slight pop to the upside, is because we're in price discovery mode. RSI is not yet overbought on the daily time frame, but also you can see here on the daily time frame, you guys can see a little bit of divergence as well. Price RSI trending down, while price is trending up. That's a bit of divergences as well. This is not going to be good, and this is why I think we're going to see that quick pop and then mostly start to pull back. Macro rising wedge still in play. So we could see higher highs on SPY, but overall, it's going to lead to overall downside, okay? And you guys have seen these rising wedges. If you watch my live streams, you've seen them play out on the smaller time frames. The same thing's going to happen on the larger time frame. So basically, it's meant to feel like it always goes up, and then it starts to reach the top of the wedge, and then it pulls back in a great manner. So this is what we're looking at on the short and long term. As far as weekly update and prediction, I do think we're going to see a red week for SPY. Now let's go ahead and hop in to show you guys what's going on with the meme stocks and in the meme stock market. We have 1.6 million short shares on AMC, and if we go ahead and go to GME, we're sitting at 80,000 shares available to short. AMC short shares starting to dry up. We want to see these numbers get as close to zero as possible, okay? We want to see these numbers get as close to zero as possible because that's going to help AMC cost to borrow go up. That's going to help the short interest go up, which we're already starting to see, 9.29%. This because they're going to need to start shorting more and push it down more, and it's going to cost more because there's going to be more demand. That's going to raise cost to borrow. It's going to raise short interest and bring those numbers up back to the levels that we have seen them previously to have a massive short squeeze. To have any type of short squeeze, you need to have at least 8 to 10% short interest. We're sitting at about 9.29% right now. Short interest is increasing for AMC stock as they're trying to keep it down because price is starting to rise. As you guys can see, price is starting to rise on AMC, and things are looking very, very bullish. I'm going to hop in the GME and then wrap up with AMC. So GME looking bullish as well. GME looking bullish as well. As you guys can see, the daily time frame is starting to curl up on the MACD. 4-hour time frame, green MACD. GME is looking exquisite right now, guys. You guys can see that the Bollinger Bands are starting to get tight. This is telling us volatility is coming. Most likely it's going to be a move to the upside. Why do I say that? Because we can see this falling wedge right here. This falling wedge is extremely bullish, guys. It's going to make us retest $18. This is going to happen over the next couple of weeks as we come back up towards that $18 level. And what happens once we break above $18 using that as support? That's going to give us the push for that gamma ramp normally sitting at about $20 for GME stock. Once we get to $20, this thing's going to absolutely start flying. And I think GME is a great macro investment, not financial advice. Why do I say this? Because GME is breaking out of a macro falling wedge. This macro falling wedge is an indication of overall trending back to the upside. You can see the Bollinger Band starting to tighten up on the monthly time frame. MACD on the monthly time frame starting to curl up, almost starting to flip green. After a couple more months, we'll get a green candle. This is all indications that we are literally following the charts to a T. Hopefully you guys can see this, and I'll zoom in. Going to go into another bull run on GME. So right here's your anger double bottom, then that leads to a new bottom when you go into depression, V-shaped recovery, then you go to a slight pullback, which leads into your disbelief rally. We're literally following it to a T. You have your anger and depression double bottom, then you bleed out to a new low, V-shaped recovery, then we make a higher low, which is that $13 low we're at now, which is leading into a disbelief rally. Here is that V-shaped recovery, here was that higher low, and this was your anger and depression bottom. We're literally following the charts to the T, and we're about to go into a disbelief rally on GameStop. This is why I believe it's a great macro investment, not financial advice. It's going to go at least 30 or 40 bucks, but we do have a potential price target of $70 for GME stock. And again, once it gets to that $20 level, that's going to give it the gamma ramp that we need to get to 30, and that's where things could start to get crazy. GME short interest sitting at I'll show you guys GME short interest sitting at 22.88%, and that is plenty of short interest for a short squeeze, especially if price starts to get out of control, going to that $30 or $40 level, which could cause that $70 price target or higher to come into play. And again, this is why I believe GME is a great macro investment, and I believe it is actually about to go into another bull run, believe it or not. So I do think we're going to have a green week for GME, and GME is looking bullish for the overall macro. As far as what you could see, probably you're going to see bullishness throughout the week. We have this doji. On Monday, you're probably going to see green. On Tuesday, you're probably going to see green. Maybe a little bit of pullback through the mid half of the week, and then see green throughout the later half of the week. But most likely, you're going to see a very green week for GME, and I might have a play for you guys to take advantage of that as well in the Discord, so look for that. Now, let's go ahead and hop into AMC and show you guys what's going on for AMC. AMC daily MACD starting to curl up, trying to flip green. AMC weekly MACD is already green. AMC Bollinger Bands starting to constrict, then there's no volatility is coming. This is all bullish. We also have short interest starting to increase for AMC as well. It's sitting at 9.29%. This is looking good, and these numbers will increase once we see price start to increase. As they try to push it down, they're going to need to short it more and more. As we see short shares start to dry up, they're going to need to buy more shares, which is going to cause cost of borrow to go up because there's going to be more demand, and this is what we want to see. This is telling us what's going on in the background. We can see that price is starting to trend up. And again, if it was their plan to push it down, I don't want to get people too hype and give too much hopium, but if it was their plan to push it down to a price low enough where they could afford to cover it and price started to trend up, they will actually cover because they see price starting to trend up, but it has to trend up significantly. Right now, we have a decent gamma ramp building. You guys can see we closed above $4.50. That's going to give us a gamma ramp in the next week. What you're probably going to see is a pop to the upside on Monday. I'm actually expecting a bullish Monday for both AMC and GME. It's either going to be on Monday or Tuesday. We have a decent gamma ramp. So if we hold $4.50, we're already going to have it from the last week close, but if we hold $4.50, you're going to see a decent move to the upside to about $5, maybe $6 easily. What I'm expecting on Monday is probably see consolidation pre-market retest $4.42 as support, and then have a pop to the upside after that. If we can just hold $4.50 in the morning, then you're just going to see a crazy move, probably $5-6 easy, but most likely what you're going to see is a retest of these lower levels and then have to continue up. But I'm expecting bullishness throughout the week for AMC stock. It's starting to form an inverse head and shoulders, an even larger one. It's starting to form this as a shoulder. This is your head, and now this is forming your second shoulder. We had a smaller one here, shoulder, head, shoulder, and this sometimes happens with inverse head and shoulders. They lead into larger ones. Right now we're getting a possible shoulder, head, and possibly forming a shoulder. What we would need to do is get back up to $5. If we can get back up to $5, then we could see an explosive move, because we need to use that level as support, break above it, and that's what could take us back up to about $6 or $7, believe it or not, on AMC. And I actually believe, you can believe this or not, I actually believe AMC is setting up for a move to go fill the gaps at $9 and $11. Okay, I believe that we're actually setting up for a rally. Again, I don't want to get people too hyped up, because I want to keep our morale in check. If you keep hyping people up and telling people it's going to squeeze and rally, and then it doesn't happen, people's morale gets hyped up, and then when it goes down, they get devastated, which could cause people to sell, cause people to get mental issues or emotional distress. I don't want any of that. So we're not hyping up people. We're not moonboying on this channel. We're giving you the facts and the details as we see them on the charts. But guys, right now what we're seeing with RSI being so low, we've seen this in historical context, RSI being this low, what normally happens after is a rally. And that's what the Bollinger Bands are saying. That's what the RSI is saying. That's what price is saying as it started to make a V-shaped recovery. I think it's setting up for a decent macro rally for at least a week or two, starting to make recovery back to the upside. And I believe that GME is actually bottoming. That's why I never gave price targets under $4. People often ask me, why don't you give lower price targets? Why don't you give low? Because I never believed AMC would go under $4, and I stated that for the record many, many times. And right now, for the record, the historical bottom is $4. If we continue to make higher highs, that will start to hold in as fact, and we can say a month from now, 3 months from now, $4 was the bottom for AMC, and it looks like that's what's happening right now. MACD starting to curl up, green weekly MACD, RSI oversold. This thing's setting up for a rally, you can believe it or not, and provides a great opportunity to buy a stock that was beat down and is going to see a recovery. Again, not financial advice. So this is what I'm looking at for AMC. I do think we're going to be having a green week. Things are starting to look better. It looks like we got through the fire and we're starting to walk through the other side. We still have a long journey ahead of us, apes, so do not get discouraged and be ready for anything. But this is what the charts are saying right now. If you found this video informative, go ahead and drop a like. Press subscribe for more content like this. And remember, you can check me out on Twitter and Discord for even more DataZero updates. The Discord is $50 for a lifetime invite, but it literally pays for itself because I put out trades that you could take advantage of. Also, it's a private community where you can join the DataZero family and have communication throughout the day, and I am in there as well. So if you want to join this private community and get access to those trades, hit me up on my email, Instagram, or Twitter, link down below in the description. Say, hey, I want to join the Discord. I'm going to send you payment information. Payment is made via PayPal or Cash App. It's $50 for a lifetime invite. Once you make payment, I'll send you the link to give you access. It's as easy as that. And everyone, I appreciate you if you watch the end to see this message and see the whole entire video. As always, y'all, have fun, stay safe, make money. Peace out. All right, guys, that was the video. If you found it informative, go ahead and drop a like and press subscribe for more content like this. And remember, you can check me out on Twitter and Discord for even more DataZero updates. I appreciate you guys that watched the end because so few people are able to watch the end because TikTok has absolutely decimated attention spans. And as always, y'all, I appreciate you guys. Hopefully, you're having a great day, night, evening, whenever you're watching this. And as always, have fun, stay safe, make money. Peace out.